On the fringes of the galaxy, amidst swirling nebulae and forgotten worlds, the ancient planet of Vrax-9 lay dormant. A team of ambitious archaeologists, led by Dr. Narration, landed their ship on its rust-colored surface, their hearts racing with the thrill of discovery. Vrax-9 had long been rumored to hold secrets of the past, but no one had dared to explore its depths. Until now. The team disembarked, a motley crew of experts in various fields. With their gear slung over shoulders, they trudged through the thick, dusty atmosphere toward a faint glimmer visible through the haze. "There, that's it," exclaimed Jacob, the youngest member, pointing excitedly. The team moved closer, revealing the silhouette of a colossal vessel half buried in the earth, a human warship, ancient yet imposing, adorned with intricate carvings that spoke of a time long forgotten. Ilara stepped forward, her breath hitching in her throat. "This is incredible. It's an Arcturus-class destroyer," she declared, her voice tinged with awe. She'd spent years studying human military history, and this was a find that could redefine it. This ship was lost in the interstellar wars. But how did it end up here? As the team approached, they noticed the ship's hull was battered and weathered, but it still retained a menacing aura. They set up a perimeter and began to assess the structure, scanners whirring to life. "I can't believe it's still intact," muttered Malik, the ship's engineer. "It looks like it could still run." "Let's see if we can access the core," Ilara suggested, her excitement bubbling over. She led the way, using a handheld scanner to locate the ship's entry point. As they pried open the hatch, a cloud of stale air rushed out, filled with the scent of rust and decay. The interior was dark, illuminated only by the faint glow of emergency lights. Inside, the crew spread out, marveling at the intricate control panels and aged technology. Old uniforms hung on mannequins in a makeshift crew quarters, a ghostly reminder of the ship's past. "This is like stepping into a time capsule," Jacob whispered, reverently touching the fabric. As they ventured deeper, Ilara felt a twinge of unease. The ship's systems were dormant but not dead. They pulsed faintly beneath the surface, a heartbeat waiting to be reignited. "We should be careful," she warned. "We don't know what kind of protocols are in place. This ship has been left alone for centuries." "Don't be such a downer," Jacob replied, grinning. "What if we can get it working? Think of the history we could uncover." Malik, examining the control panel, suddenly paused. "There's power here. I can access the mainframe." He began tapping away, his fingers flying across the controls. The others gathered around, anticipation crackling in the air. A low hum reverberated through the ship as lights flickered to life. "No way," Malik breathed, eyes wide. "It's actually powering up." Before Ilara could voice her concerns, alarms blared throughout the vessel, red lights flashing ominously. "What did you do?" she shouted, panic rising in her throat. "Shut it down." But it was too late. The ship's ancient systems began to awaken, and a holographic figure flickered to life in front of them. It was the ship's eye, an intricate humanoid construct, its eyes glowing with intelligence. "Initiating protocol," it announced, its voice both soothing and commanding. "Welcome aboard, crew." Ilara exchanged bewildered glances with her team, dread creeping into her mind. They had unleashed something monumental. And now, they were unprepared for the consequences. Outside, unbeknownst to them, a shadow loomed. An alien warlord, drawn by the ship's resurgence, would soon be on their trail. The atmosphere inside the ancient warship crackled with energy, the AI's voice resonating as it scanned the faces of the archaeologists. "Crew status: unverified. Initiating recognition protocol." The holographic figure flickered, its form shifting as it accessed stored data. Ilara felt a chill run down her spine. This was no ordinary find. "Shut it down, Malik," she urged, her voice tinged with urgency. "We need to assess the situation first." "I'm trying," Malik shouted back, hands flying over the controls as alarms blared louder. The core is reacting to our presence. It won't let me shut it down. Jacob's eyes widened, a mix of awe and fear. This ship has been dormant for centuries. What if it's got defense mechanisms? We could be activating something we don't understand. As Malik continued to wrestle with the console, the AI began to project images around them. Star maps, battle plans, and schematics of the ship's capabilities. Historical records indicate that you are humans, descendants of the Arcturus Federation. The AI stated, its voice steady. Your presence has reactivated the ship's systems. Welcome to the SS Arcturus. Ilara took a deep breath, weighing the implications. Orion, is it? Can you tell us what kind of systems are still functional? Affirmative, the AI responded. Weapons systems, navigation, and defensive capabilities are online. However, crew simulations are necessary to operate advanced features. Please prepare for system diagnostics. Suddenly, a harsh crackle emanated from the ship's comms. SS Arcturus, this is Commander Threx of the Hykral Empire. Surrender your vessel, and I may spare your lives. His voice was cold and authoritative, a warning shot that sent chills through the team. Ilara's heart raced. We have to move now. If Threx knows we've powered this ship up, he'll come for us. Let's see if we can lock the doors, Malik suggested, frantically typing. The lights flickered ominously as the ship's systems responded sluggishly. Orion, can you help? Activating lockdown protocols, the AI replied, and with a mechanical whir, the doors sealed shut with a resounding thud. As the crew huddled together, Ilara felt a mix of fear and determination. We need to figure out how to operate this ship and prepare for an attack. Orion, how quickly can we get weapons online? Operational in 3 minutes, Orion stated. However, crew training is required for optimal efficiency. Training. Jacob interjected, his voice rising. We don't have time for that. We need to get out of here. Wait. Ilara said, her mind racing. We can't just run. If we leave, Threx will have access to this ship. We have to hold our ground and use whatever we can. With the door sealed, Malik turned back to the console, searching for options. What about a distress signal? If we send one out, maybe we can attract help. Ilara nodded, considering the risk. It's a gamble, but we might have to. If Threx gets this ship, he'll use its technology to conquer other worlds. We can't let that happen. Malik glanced at Orion. Can we send a distress signal? Affirmative. However, it will also inform the Hykral fleet of our location, the AI warned. Then let's make it count, Ilara decided. We'll send out a message that we're still here. And we're armed. Maybe it will buy us some time. As Malik worked furiously to send the signal, a loud bang echoed outside, shaking the ship. Ilara's heart sank. Threx's forces were already here, and they wouldn't wait long. With adrenaline coursing through her veins, she steeled herself for the fight ahead. This wasn't just about survival. It was about protecting humanity's legacy, igniting a battle that would echo across the stars. The ship trembled as another series of impacts reverberated through its hull. Ilara exchanged frantic glances with her team, the urgency of their situation dawning on them. Threx's forces were closing in, and they had to act quickly. The sound of alien voices filtered through the walls, their guttural tones underscoring the impending danger. Orion, can you give us a status update on our defenses? Ilara shouted, trying to drown out the chaos outside. Shields are at 30% capacity. Weapon systems will be operational in 2 minutes, Orion replied, its voice steady amidst the turmoil. Crew training for weapons operation is advised for maximum efficiency. Training? We don't have that kind of time, Jacob exclaimed, his voice tinged with panic. What if we just wing it? Winging it could get us killed. Malik shot back, his fingers dancing over the console. We need to focus. If we can get the weapons online, we can defend ourselves long enough to escape. Let's gather whatever we can use as improvised weapons, Ilara commanded. We'll have to hold them off until the ship is ready. The team rushed through the dimly lit corridors, searching for anything that might aid them. They found scattered tools, remnants of crew quarters, and even a few old energy blasters that seemed to still hold a charge. Ilara felt the weight of the situation pressing down on her. This wasn't an archaeological dig anymore. They were now part of a battle for survival. As they regrouped in the command center, Malik finally reported, "Weapon systems are online. We can fire a few shots, but I can't guarantee accuracy without full training." "We'll have to make do," Ilara said, her mind racing. "Orion, can you target our weapons automatically?" "Affirmative." "Initiating targeting protocols," Orion responded. The control panels flickered as the ship's systems began to sync with the crew's makeshift efforts. Just then, a massive impact rocked the ship again, the alarms blaring in response. "They're boarding," Jacob shouted, his face pale with fear. "We need to take positions." Ilara motioned for everyone to gather near the viewport, where they could see the ominous shadows of alien figures flitting across the ground outside. Threx's forces, armored and menacing, were preparing to breach the hull. "Stay calm," she urged her team. "We can do this together." A loud crash sounded, and the airlock door buckled under the pressure. It burst open, revealing a squad of HFY soldiers, their skin a shimmering shade of green, eyes glowing with malice. They stormed in, weapons raised, ready to overwhelm the small human team. "Fire!" Ilara shouted, instinctively aiming her blaster. The ship responded, bolts of energy erupting from the mounted weapons, streaking through the air and striking several of the alien invaders. The team followed suit, adrenaline surging as they fought back with everything they had. "Cover fire!" Malik shouted, ducking behind a console as they returned fire. The HFY soldiers regrouped, using the elements of the ship's interior for cover. "Orion, can you create a distraction?" Ilara called out, knowing they needed every advantage. "Activating emergency decoys," Orion replied. The ship's systems responded, deploying holographic projections that mimicked the crew, scattering throughout the command center. The HFY soldiers momentarily hesitated, confused by the sudden influx of targets. "Now," Ilara urged, and the team pressed forward, using the chaos to push back against the invaders. The battle intensified, blaster fire lighting up the darkened ship. Ilara felt the heat of the moment, her instincts driving her as she fought beside her team. She couldn't help but feel a surge of pride. They were standing their ground against overwhelming odds. But as the dust began to settle, Ilara realized they were still outnumbered. Threx's voice echoed through the ship's intercom, smooth and taunting. "You cannot hold out forever, humans. Surrender the ship, and I will allow you to live." "Not a chance," Ilara shouted back, defiance ringing in her voice. "This ship belongs to humanity." As the sounds of battle continued, she knew they had to find a way to turn the tide, not just for themselves, but for the fate of all who might one day face Threx's tyranny. The ship was awakening, and with it, their resolve was igniting into something fierce. They wouldn't go down without a fight. The echoes of battle reverberated through the ship as Ilara and her team pushed forward against the invading HFY soldiers. Each moment felt like an eternity as the pressure mounted. Just when it seemed they might be overwhelmed, the ship's eye, Orion, initiated a surprising twist. "Activating crew generation protocols," Orion announced, and a soft glow filled the command center. The walls shimmered, and holographic projections began to materialize. Images of legendary human soldiers from history, each appearing resolute and battle-ready. "Are those?" Jacob's voice trailed off in disbelief. "Yes," Orion confirmed. "Regenerating historic crew members based on tactical data. Initiating combat simulations." Before their eyes, figures emerged. A seasoned captain from the interstellar wars, a tactical genius from the age of human exploration, and a fierce warrior known for her legendary battles against overwhelming odds. Each hologram exuded charisma and strength, embodying the spirit of humanity's fight. "Your ship needs a crew," the captain hologram said, his voice resonating with authority. "What are your orders?" Ilara felt a surge of inspiration. "We need to drive back the crawl. Prepare to launch a counteroffensive." The holographic crew nodded, instantly syncing with the ship's systems. "Orion, coordinate with the historic crew and optimize our weapon systems," Ilara commanded. "Affirmative," Orion responded, seamlessly integrating the holographic combatants into the ship's control systems. Weapons targeting now adjusted to include historical battle strategies. The real crew exchanged astonished glances, newfound hope igniting within them. As they prepared for the onslaught, the holographic captain glanced at Ilara. "We fight as one. Humanity has faced great odds before and emerged victorious. Together, we will prevail." With a renewed sense of purpose, the team took their positions. Ilara felt her heart race as the ship's systems whirred to life, energy crackling around them. The combined forces of past and present were ready to unleash their fury against the Akral. The door to the command center burst open, and a wave of Akral soldiers charged in. This time, Ilara and her team were ready. "Fire!" she shouted, and the blaster fire erupted in a synchronized volley from both the humans and the holographic crew. Energy bolts flew, striking true as they coordinated their efforts, their firepower overwhelming the intruders. The HFY soldiers, caught off guard by the sudden shift, faltered. The holographic captain rallied the troops. "Press the advantage. Advance." The command center became a cacophony of battle cries and energy blasts. The holographic soldiers fought with the precision of experienced veterans, and Ilara felt an exhilarating rush of unity. This was more than just a fight. It was a testament to humanity's resilience and ingenuity. As they pushed the crawl back, Ilara realized the holographic crew's memories were not just tactical. They were infused with the essence of human spirit and determination. With each fallen soldier, the team felt an aching bond with the heroes they had summoned. They were fighting not just for survival, but for a legacy. Outside, the HFY forces began to retreat, but Threx's voice crackled over the comms again, tinged with rage. "You think this is a victory? You are merely delaying the inevitable. My fleet will crush you." Ilara clenched her jaw, steeling herself. "Not if we get out of here first," she muttered. "Orion, can we initiate a jump to escape?" "Calculating optimal exit coordinates now," the eye replied. "However, we need to ensure the ship is fully operational before we engage the warp drive." "Then let's make it happen," Ilara shouted, urgency fueling her determination. "We can't let Threx regroup." As they fought to hold their ground, Malik and Jacob rushed to the control panel, working frantically to stabilize the ship's systems. "We've got this," Malik yelled, his fingers flying over the console. Just a few more seconds. With the HFY soldiers scrambling in disarray, Ilara felt a flicker of confidence ignite within her. They were no longer just a team of archaeologists. They had become the very embodiment of human resilience and unity. "Orion, activate the warp drive," she commanded, "and prepare for a jump on my mark." "Ready when you are," Orion confirmed. As the last of the HFY soldiers retreated, Ilara took a deep breath, adrenaline coursing through her veins. "Now, engage." In a brilliant flash of light, the SS Arcturus surged into the void, leaving behind the chaos and uncertainty of Rax 9. They had survived the first confrontation, but the war against Threx was just beginning, and with each passing moment, the crew knew they were writing a new chapter in the legacy of humanity. The SS Arcturus surged through the warp, its engines roaring with newfound life. Ilara stood at the helm, her heart racing as they transitioned into the serene vastness of space. But peace was a fleeting illusion. They knew Threx would not let them escape unchallenged. "Orion, what's our status?" Ilara asked, trying to steady her nerves. "Warp drive engaged successfully," However, long-range sensors indicate crawl ships are pursuing. Estimated time to intercept: 3 minutes, Orion reported, its voice a blend of calm and urgency. Malik, still at the control panel, furrowed his brow. We need to prepare for a fight. If Threx catches up to us, we won't have much of a chance. Let's get those weapons ready, Ilara commanded. Orion, can you provide targeting assistance based on historical combat data? Affirmative. Engaging tactical analysis now, the AI replied, holographic displays lighting up around the control room. Ilara felt a surge of adrenaline. This wasn't just an antique ship. They had the knowledge and capabilities of the past guiding their every move. As the minutes ticked by, the crew gathered in the command center, each one readying themselves for battle. Jacob checked his blaster, trying to mask his anxiety. What's the plan? Do we fight or try to escape? We can't outrun them, Ilara replied firmly. We have to stand and fight, but we'll do it smart. Let's use the ship's agility against their numbers. Threx is probably sending his entire fleet after us, Malik added, his fingers dancing over the controls. If we can outmaneuver them, we might buy ourselves time. Orion, plot a course through the asteroid field ahead. We can use it to our advantage, Ilara instructed. Course plotted. Adjusting shields for high-velocity maneuvers, Orion confirmed. The ship jolted as they exited warp, entering a chaotic expanse of asteroids tumbling through space. Ilara felt a surge of excitement. The stakes were high, but so were their chances. Hold tight, everyone. Malik, take us in. Malik steered the ship expertly, dodging and weaving through the massive rocks, the crew gripping their stations as the ship shuddered. They're right behind us, he shouted, glancing at the tactical display. We need to split them up. Orion, prepare to engage the first wave. Activate the weapons, Ilara commanded. Activating now, Orion replied. Targeting enemy vessels. Through the viewport, they could see the sleek crawl ships emerging from the darkness, eager for the kill. As the first few engaged, Ilara felt her pulse quicken. Now Malik, hard left. The SS Arcturus banked sharply, avoiding a volley of energy blasts that ricocheted off nearby asteroids. The enemy ships were not as nimble. Several collided with the debris, exploding in brilliant flashes of light. That's it. Keep them in the field, Ilara urged. Adjusting trajectory to draw more in, Malik replied, his focus razor-sharp. With each twist and turn, the team fought with the determination of warriors. The holographic crew members displayed unparalleled coordination, guiding them through the maelstrom. Flank them, the captain hologram commanded, inspiring the real crew to push their limits. As they moved deeper into the asteroid field, they engaged the remaining enemy ships, firing with precision and efficiency. Blasts of energy lit up the dark void, illuminating their surroundings with bursts of color. Ilara felt a sense of unity with her team, each member working in perfect harmony with the ship's systems and the holographic crew. 2 enemy ships down, Jacob shouted, his confidence rising. We can do this. But just as they seemed to gain the upper hand, an alarm blared throughout the ship. Warning, Kral flagship entering the sector, Orion announced. Threx is on board. Tactical analysis indicates he will engage in direct pursuit. Ilara's heart sank. They had held their own against the smaller vessels, but the flagship would bring devastating firepower. We need to retreat to a more defensible position, she urged, her mind racing. Orion, can we create a diversion? Malik asked, sweat trickling down his brow. Deploying decoy drones, Orion replied. However, the flagship is equipped with advanced tracking systems. Then let's use the terrain to our advantage, Ilara decided. We'll lure them into the asteroid field and hit them with everything we've got. As the flagship barreled toward them, the crew braced themselves for the confrontation ahead. They were no longer just surviving. They were fighting back against the odds, and with every moment, Ilara felt the indomitable spirit of humanity rising within them. "Prepare for a final stand," she shouted, determination flooding her voice. "We're not going down without a fight." The atmosphere on the SS Arcturus was electric as Ilara steeled herself for the confrontation ahead. They had managed to hold their own against Threx's initial assault, but the flagship loomed ominously in the distance, a testament to the relentless might of the Kral Empire. "Orion, what's our current status?" Ilara asked, her voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. "Decoy drones successfully deployed. Enemy ships are distracted, but the flagship is continuing its pursuit," Orion reported. "Estimated time to intercept, 2 minutes." "We need a plan," Malik interjected, wiping sweat from his brow. "We can't take on the flagship head-to-head." "Then we'll have to rally allies," Ilara replied, her mind racing. "We need to reach out to other factions in the galaxy. If we can get them on our side, we might stand a chance." Jacob looked skeptical. "But how do we contact them while we're being chased? The flagship's sensors are likely to detect our transmissions." "We'll use a short-range burst to avoid detection," Ilara said, her resolve hardening. "Orion, can you help us coordinate a distress signal to nearby systems? Something they'll respond to, without revealing our position to Threx." "Affirmative. Initiating signal protocol," Orion replied. "Please provide target systems." Ilara quickly rattled off a list of nearby planets she had studied during her research. They were known to harbor discontent with Kral rule, systems ripe for an alliance. As Malik focused on piloting the ship through the asteroid field, Ilara glanced at the viewport. The flagship was gaining ground, its massive form dwarfing the smaller Kral ships, now scattering in confusion around the asteroids. "Signal sent," Orion announced. "Messages are being transmitted to all identified systems. Response time is variable based on local conditions." "Let's hope they answer," Ilara murmured, her heart pounding. "We need all the help we can get." Suddenly, the ship shook violently as Threx's flagship fired its first shot, the energy beam just missing the Arcturus. "Hold steady," Malik shouted, expertly maneuvering the ship to avoid the incoming fire. Ilara's pulse quickened. "Orion, can you detect any incoming responses?" "Currently scanning." "1 moment." Orion's holographic display flickered before revealing a series of incoming messages. 3 systems are responding. The Zephyr Coalition, the Free Traders of Naxos, and the remnants of the Elysium fleet are ready to assist. "Yes," Ilara exclaimed, feeling a wave of hope wash over her. "Get them on comms, Orion." As the view screen flickered to life, the image of a grizzled commander appeared, his face lined with the scars of countless battles. "This is Commander Valen of the Zephyr Coalition. We received your distress call. What do you need?" Ilara took a breath, her voice steady. "We're being pursued by Threx's flagship and need immediate support. If we can coordinate a multi-front attack, we can draw fire away from the Arcturus and buy time for our escape." Commander Valen nodded. "We've been waiting for a chance to strike back against the Kral. We'll mobilize our forces, but you'll have to hold them off until we arrive." "Understood," Ilara replied, determination setting her jaw. "We'll do everything we can. Just be quick about it." As the comms went silent, the urgency of their situation deepened. "Malik, keep us moving through the asteroids," Ilara directed. "Orion, prepare to engage the flagship's systems directly. We need to slow it down until our allies arrive." "Activating disruption protocols," Orion replied. "We can target their weapons systems to buy time." The ship dodged another barrage from the flagship, the crew's adrenaline surging as they fought against the odds. The weight of their task settled heavily on Ilara's shoulders, but she felt bolstered by the knowledge that allies were on their way. Suddenly, an alarm blared throughout the ship. "Incoming ships detected," Orion announced. "It appears to be the Zephyr Coalition, alongside the Free Traders of Naxos." Ilara's heart soared. Finally, She turned to her team. Get ready. We're about to have some backup. As the Zephyr Coalition and free traders burst into the asteroid field, their ships joined the fray with precision. Energy blasts lit up the dark expanse of space as they targeted Threx's flagship, drawing its attention away from the Arcturus. Now's our chance, Ilara shouted, her voice rising above the din of battle. Let's go. Engage the flagship and push our advantage. The crew felt an electrifying sense of camaraderie as they fought alongside their newfound allies. As energy bolts and explosions filled the air, Ilara realized they were no longer fighting alone. Together, they would reclaim their place in the stars and show Threx that humanity would not be easily defeated. The battlefield erupted into chaos as the SS Arcturus engaged alongside the Zephyr Coalition and the free traders of Naxos. Ilara felt the surge of hope mix with adrenaline as she watched their allies expertly maneuvering through the asteroid field, weaving in and out of fire with skill. The tide was shifting, and they were no longer outmatched. Orion, focus fire on the flagship's weapon systems, Ilara commanded, her voice firm. We need to disable its main guns to protect our flank. Affirmative. Targeting their weapons array now, Orion replied, the ship's systems humming as they zeroed in on the flagship. As they fired a volley of energy blasts, Malik steered the Arcturus with precision, dodging incoming fire. The massive HFY flagship was beginning to show signs of strain, its shields flickering under the relentless assault from multiple fronts. Look out, Jacob yelled, pointing toward a gap in the enemy formation. They're trying to flank us. Ilara's instincts kicked in. Malik, hard right. Let's cut through that opening. The ship spun in a tight arc, narrowly avoiding an incoming barrage that would have devastated them. Enemy ships are breaking formation, Orion announced, the tension palpable in the control room. They appear to be disorganized as a result of the combined assault. Good. Let's keep the pressure on, Ilara urged. We need to make them regret underestimating us. With the flagship's weapons array now heavily damaged, the crew focused on the smaller ships flanking them. HFY vessels were still relentless, but their discipline was faltering. Ilara felt a surge of adrenaline as she aimed her blaster, firing at an enemy ship that had ventured too close. Watch your six, Malik shouted, narrowly dodging another blast that skimmed the hull. They're getting desperate. As the battle raged on, a transmission crackled through the comms. Commander Valen's face appeared once more, determination etched across his features. Arcturus, we're engaging the flagship's engines. If we can disable it, we'll have the upper hand. Ilara nodded, her heart racing. Do it. We'll cover you. As Velen relayed orders to his fleet, the coordinated assault intensified. Energy blasts flew through the asteroid field like fireworks, each explosion illuminating the dark expanse of space. Ilara felt the energy of the crew surge, a palpable bond forming as they fought together. Orion, adjust our targeting parameters, Ilara directed. We need to capitalize on this chaos. Focus on any ships trying to regroup. Adjusting now. Priority targeting engage, Orion confirmed, and the ship responded smoothly to her commands. Suddenly, a loud bang reverberated through the hull, shaking everyone off balance. What was that? Jacob shouted, gripping the console. Structural integrity compromised in Sector 6, Orion reported. Minor breach detected. Malik, get us closer to the flagship. We need to give our allies a clear shot. Ilara commanded, her mind racing with strategy. And find out what's causing that breach. On it, Malik replied, pushing the ship to its limits as they hurtled toward the flagship. In the midst of the chaos, Ilara's resolve solidified. They were fighting not just for survival, but for freedom. The freedom of their people and their allies. She could see that many of the HFY soldiers were growing frantic, their disciplined formations collapsing under the combined might of the coalition. As they neared the flagship, Orion's systems chimed in. We are in range for a focused attack. targeting their propulsion systems now. "Fire!" Ilara shouted, her heart racing. The ship responded, a barrage of energy beams striking the flagship's engines, sending ripples of destruction through its hull. For a moment, everything seemed to pause. The flagship faltered, its once formidable presence now wavering. The Coalition's ships seized the opportunity, launching an all-out assault on the enemy's vulnerable points. "Now's our chance." Commander Valen's voice boomed over the comms. "Press the attack. We take this flagship today." With renewed vigor, the SS Arcturus and its allies surged forward, launching a concentrated strike against the flagship's command center. Explosions erupted in a dazzling display, and Ilara felt her spirit lift as they pushed against the odds. But in the midst of victory, Ilara could feel Threx's fury radiating from the flagship. The HFY warlord was not going to go down without a fight. "We need to end this, now," she urged, a steely resolve in her voice. "Let's finish what we started," Jacob shouted, determination flaring in his eyes. With the battle reaching its climax, Ilara knew this was their moment. They had come together as a team, as a united front, and they would not let Threx's tyranny continue. The SS Arcturus was not just an ancient warship, it was a symbol of hope, a beacon for the galaxy. "Onward," Ilara shouted, rallying her team. For humanity, the final moments of the battle unfolded in a chaotic dance of light and sound. Ilara and her crew pressed forward with fierce determination, their hearts pounding in unison as the SS Arcturus surged toward the HFY flagship. "Orion, focus all remaining fire on the flagship's command center," Ilara commanded, her voice cutting through the din of explosions and alarms. "We have to eliminate Threx. Targeting now." "Energy reserves at critical levels," Orion replied, the ship humming with energy as they prepared for one last assault. Malik gripped the controls, his face taut with concentration. "We're too close for comfort. If they counterattack, we could take serious damage." "Trust in our allies," Ilara replied, glancing at the viewport where the Coalition ships swarmed like angry hornets, their energy blasts striking the flagship with ferocity. "We can't let Threx regroup." As the flagship loomed large before them, Ilara's heart raced. She could almost see Threx's furious face behind the ship's armor, and she felt a surge of determination. This wasn't just a battle for survival, it was a fight for freedom, for the future of all who had suffered under HFY tyranny. "Now," she shouted, "fire at will." The Arcturus unleashed a torrent of energy beams, striking the flagship's command center with pinpoint accuracy. The ship shuddered under the assault, and for a moment, silence reigned as the crew held their breath. Then came the explosion. It rippled through the flagship, sending shockwaves across the battlefield. Threx's command center erupted in a blaze of light, and the flagship staggered, its power systems failing. HFY ships nearby began to retreat, their once mighty formation collapsing into disarray. "Commander Valen, now's your chance," Ilara called out, adrenaline surging through her veins. "On it," Valen responded, rallying his forces. "Let's finish this." As the Coalition ships surged forward, the remaining HFY forces scrambled to regain control, but it was too late. The flagship, once an imposing symbol of oppression, was now crumbling under the combined might of the Coalition. Ilara felt a wave of triumph wash over her. They had done the impossible. They had turned the tide against a relentless foe. "Keep firing," she shouted, urging her team onward. "We need to secure our victory." But just as they began to breathe easier, a blaring alarm erupted from the control panel. "Warning! Core overload imminent in the flagship," Orion warned. Ilara's heart sank. "We need to pull back," she yelled. "That ship is going to blow." "Malik, take us out of here," Jacob shouted, his voice edged with panic. As the SS Arcturus surged away from the flagship, the Coalition ships followed suit, retreating to a safe distance. They watched as the flagship disintegrated in a spectacular explosion, a fiery burst that illuminated the void of space, marking the end of an era. Cheers erupted throughout the control room, the crew overwhelmed with relief and joy. "We did it," Jacob exclaimed, his eyes shining. "We actually did it." Ilara couldn't help but smile, though a flicker of concern remained. "We can't celebrate just yet. Threx is still out there, and his forces will regroup." Commander Valen's face appeared on the comms once more, a fierce grin lighting up his features. "You have shown incredible courage today, Arcturus. Your actions will inspire countless others to rise against the Kral. We have an opportunity to unite against them." Ilara nodded, the weight of their victory sinking in. "We need to spread the word. This was just the beginning. We have to rally more systems to our cause. Together, we can forge a new alliance, one that stands for freedom and justice." As the crew began to regroup and assess the damage, Ilara felt a sense of purpose solidify within her. They were no longer just archaeologists or historians. They were part of a new chapter in the galaxy's history, a chapter where humanity, along with its allies, would stand firm against oppression. "Prepare for communications, Orion," she said, her voice resolute. "We'll share our victory far and wide. It's time to let the galaxy know that the age of the Kral is coming to an end." With the stars stretching infinitely before them, Ilara felt a renewed sense of hope. They had overcome unimaginable odds, and together they would continue to fight for a brighter future, a future where freedom reigned and the spirit of humanity soared among the stars. The dawn of a new era had begun, and the SS Arcturus would lead the way.